Alright guys, so the point of this video is to try to explain PS stab and how it works. So what you guys have done here is you've kind of spammed this area with PSs, and it'll still work for PS stab. It's just sometimes it's a little bit harder and you can't do the PS stab for as long. And the reason is because there's not as big of a gap between your power stations, right? So if you take a look at our side of the map, right? What you can see is that I have gaps basically between all the different power stations, and the direction of the gaps are facing the direction that I anticipate I will be attacked from, right? I anticipate we're going to be attacked from this gate, so all of my gaps are kind of facing in that direction. They're facing that gate. So the way that this works is, let's take this PS for example. The way that this works is when our attacker comes through, they're going to build a PS either, just overlapping or just touching, right? They're not going to be able to get like all the way up to here, and if they do, okay, like I have some space behind, right? So let's say they're up to here, they attack this PS, right? I'm going to let this PS burn. Especially, I'm going to try to maintain it for as long as I can. I'm going to try to reinforce it for as long as I can. But, if their big guys are attacking that PS, I'm just going to waste troops trying to reinforce it. So as this PS burns, because that's what's going to happen, our PSs are going to burn. As this PS burns, either once it's been completely burned and it's gone, or right before it's finished burning, you can demolish it. Right? But the point is to let it burn for as long as possible, drain as much time as possible, right? And then the next PS that you build, instead of it being right here, you replace it with a PS right here, right where this little dot is. You try to move it one tile back so that you create one tile gap between their PS and our new PS, right? So to give you an example, let me see where I can do this. Let's say here, right? If this were a PS that was already built, right? Let's say this PS is already built. They've attacked it. It's burning. It's down to like 2%. I can demolish it, or I can wait, right? And their line is just right up to the edge. Then what I can do with this PS is I can move it one tile back. They're forced to then build one tile in. They can't build 5, 6, 7, 5 tiles ahead. They're forced to build one tile at a time, right? There's not much space that they can move in. Then, as this new PS gets built, they're going to attack it. As that burns, then the next PS I build it one tile back. This significantly slows their progress down. This keeps it so that they can only build PSs like one tile at a time. Hopefully, if we do it right, they even have to demo some of their power stations to move them up, right? So it's really going to significantly increase the amount of time that we have holding these buildings. This isn't a question of whether or not we can beat them back. We can't, right? 42 has 5 whales over there. One of them has level 4 specialization in every single formation slot. Every single one, level 4. Some of these guys have dumped $250,000 into their accounts, right? Over 100K. We're not going to beat them, especially not Hassan. But what we can do is we can try to slow down their progress enough so that they can't get to those buildings in time. And if every single one of us is doing this PS stab, that's going to really slow down where it is that they can come through, where it is that they can target, how quickly they can get to the buildings. Now, the other thing that you can do, right, because at some point, the power stations, if you look here, at some point they're gonna hit a dead end, right? The other thing that you should have your R4s doing is spam power stations, right? Because as you drop a power station into a slot that they would occupy, they can no longer occupy that slot, right? So you're occupying a slot that their power station could occupy. Have your R4s spam them, right? Now, what your R4s should be doing is they should be coming up, close. You want to be closer to the power stations that you're building. I'm going to be probably somewhere around here, and then as those power stations come down, then I'm going to move back, right? So in zone 3, I should only have to port about twice. Then I'll have to port, once to get into zone 2, and then once to get into zone 1. So you need about 4 or 5 ports, right? You want to be closer to the power stations that you're doing PS stab with than the enemy is, right? Because the idea is to drop those power stations before they can get to the slot. And I don't think there's anything else left to cover. If you guys have questions, let me know. All right, thank you.